Well, joining me live from the Adelaide Hills wine region now on the same topic today is South Australian Wine Industry Association Executive Alex Trescowthick. Alex, thank you for your time today. We heard from Tim Ayres just there. I mean, this is a major win for exporters after 4 years of difficulty for the industry. How did you feel after the news?
Oh, look, on behalf of the wine region, we definitely welcome the return of free trade between Australia and China. It's great news. It's been a lot of pressure on the wine industry, especially the last 4 years. And I think this is some really positive news that I think will, make some people's Easter just that little bit better. We obviously thank, the work that the federal and state governments have been doing, for the wine industry.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, how hard has it been for the Australian winemakers to diversify during these past 4 years? We heard the government there talking about that as well. But do you feel that you've had enough support from the government during this time? What do you need now?
Yeah, look, obviously, for your previous clip, we obviously have been busy diversifying. Going to the Adelaide Hills, we're kind of fortunate that we are probably, I suppose, heavier in the domestic market. So we have been a little bit, I suppose, buffered from the China falling out. But I think it's a really good opportunity for, yes, the Australian wine industry to go back into China, but to learn from the past and, continue to diversify, work into our other markets and then, I suppose, make sure we're a bit more resilient for the future so we don't find ourselves in the same position.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, surely there's caution now around putting all the eggs back in China's basket. And as well, looking at the market now, you've had other big players like Chile and France sort of step in the position while we've been locked out, right?
Yeah, it's complex and it's going to take time. I've heard from our China distributor and they're keen to get wine back on the water, but it's going to take time. There's a few more hurdles for us now to get through back into China with some additional kind of requirements to get through into the trade. But I think all in all, it's really great news, and I think there's a lot of people who've been doing it tough. So this is really, it just gives them, I suppose, light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, indeed it does. What about, we're hearing reports, of course, about wine tanks that makers are actually struggling to get rid of because it's just not economically viable. What's the solution there?
Solution's a tricky one. It's a lot of, there's quite a diverse, I suppose, range of businesses through the wine industry. So some wine industries definitely have got oversupply. We are seeing some other wine brands that are still tracking on quite nicely. So that's not all wineries in that position. There is definitely some oversupply, supply and demand with China the tap being turned off to China kind of overnight. It definitely sent some big ripples through the industry. So I think, China's a big step in the right direction with the free trade reopening. We have got a lot of work to do as an industry to get ourselves back in balance. But I think, now is a really important time for the government to jump in and give us some extra support.
Yeah, indeed. Do you think that, I mean, it was $1 billion industry back 4 years ago. Do you think that the industry is capable of getting back to that point?
Look, I don't have a crystal ball. There's some really positive, I suppose, news coming out of China, especially talking to some businesses that are already talking to their distributors. Australia was an important, part of the Chinese wine scene. We're still well regarded, our wine quality. So although there is some other countries that have, I suppose, been filling the shelves, from what we're hearing is Australian wine is wanted back in China. So we're fairly, I suppose, optimistic that we can get some of our shelf space. $1 billion market is, it's going to take time, definitely. But, we've had this current 24 have been significantly lower due to the weather in tonnes. So I think, as I said, with some good support by the industry and the government, I think we can get back there.
Indeed. Alex, thank you so much. You mentioned there that people in China want Australian wine, and why wouldn't they with a backdrop like yours behind you? Absolutely sensational. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.